What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in to talk about Destiny 2. And we've got some news and roundups for this video. We'll cover ongoing mysteries on the moon, curious unreleased weapons, and Season of Dawn. And of course that'll be the next season that we get after Undying. I wanted to talk about secret areas, new exotic rewards, and a series of updates from Bungie about the game, reward fixes, as well as some upcoming content stuff, and curious new lore that talks about how Oryx holds influence even in the events up until Shadowkeep. But we've got a bunch of other stuff to talk about in the video as well, so I hope you guys enjoy this one, but now, let's get into it. Initially, it seems that random crime and abuse is on the rise in the Tower of the Last City. On-duty Guardians report seeing the flailing bodies of civilians lying around. How does this even happen, man? Just a random thing shared by Betterbug right there. Now though, moon stuff.
This is Houston, radio check, please respond.
Moon's haunted.
I'm sure you've probably seen that advert by now, but the moon is indeed rather haunted. A lot of you guys have been asking about this, and I haven't spoken about it just yet. But near the Anchor of Light there is this curious glowing orb, and when you get close it'll say, "You stand unworthy." And so currently no one knows how to interact with this object. There haven't been any further discoveries just yet. We don't know if it's perhaps linked to the jade rabbits or the ghost shells that we collect on the moon, potentially some other requirement, but it looks very much like one of the orbs that we pick up in a strike or something, so once we gain access to it, potentially we have to take it to somewhere. I'll keep you guys posted. However, I'm sure you've seen our little friends on the moon, and yes, I'm talking about the rabbits. There are 9 of them in total, and every week it is possible to get 3 rice cakes on each account. And of course, these are the items that we feed to them in order to get a reward, and there is a triumph to collect every single one of them, but Vengeful Arch on Reddit deleted characters until they could obtain all 9 early. And this granted them the triumph, but no additional rewards. However, once you have done them, they all go on display in the rabbit room beneath Eris Morn on the moon, which is rather creepy, as when you enter the room, their purple eyes kind of pierce the barrier of your very soul. Maybe that's a little bit extreme, but I don't know, I think it's pretty creepy the way they all look at you. However, Arch also reported kind of broken prompts which said rabbits have been returned to their pedestals. And there's even an interact icon on one of them here, but again it seems to be buggy, so could there be more to this lunar secret? Maybe there's even something hidden behind the door at the end of the room. And there appears to be a kind of significant link to Dato, and that's one of the foundries in Destiny. They built weapons like Jade Rabbit, and in the lore they developed pharmaceutical products designed to combat the effects of Guardian Resurrection, so just a little bit of backstory right there. But regardless, we'll have to see if those little rabbits lead to anything next week. Here though, let's talk about upcoming content. Some of you guys pointed out some pretty neat things from Bungie's pre-release Vidocs, and that would include the weapon you can see on screen right now. We haven't seen this one in Shadowkeep, and it's a pretty unique model as we can see. Plus, it's actually a linear fusion rifle. So where do you guys think this one could be? The title says Sundial Linear Fusion Rifle No Name, and so that means that there isn't a title for the weapon just yet, although Sundial seems pretty likely to be a working name for an activity or a release or something like that. So what do you guys think? Could this be a hidden gem for Season 8, perhaps the final assault in the Vex Offensive, or could it even be linked to Destiny 2's next major season, which will be Season of Dawn? All we currently know about Season 9 is a possible return to Rasputin, as this is what Bungie showed when talking about the next content drop, and considering the story arc we're seeing in Shadowkeep and Season of Undying is supposed to kind of continue throughout the rest of the year, I'm sure that Rasputin could be fairly useful when fighting or understanding the precise nature of the pyramid and what's going on with that, but according to the Season of Undying help page, Season 8 will officially end on December 10th at Weekly Reset, so if you're wondering when we'll get that Season 9 content drop, be sure to mark down December 10th as that'll be the start date. Back to this season though, outside of mystery rewards like the weapon we just spoke about, we know that we have upcoming exotics like Leviathan's Breath and Xenophage, as well as dungeon rewards and a missing weapon or 2 from the moon. For those new exotics though, we will be getting some juicy new ornaments, so we can see the one for Leviathan's Breath here, and it is still possible to glitch into the secret room with the bow in the tower. And this clip was kindly shared by Mr. Steal Your Kills. You'll have to pick up the quickness buff in the tower, and as you can see, jump over to where the fans are here. And you'll need to jump from this side onto the roof above the fans. And it's possible to drop into the gap here. You basically follow the route on screen until you drop into this room, which you'll have probably noticed when running around the tower, you can't normally get into here. And walking to the front of the desk, you can change the load zone. And then when you head back, you can easily access the area that we'll need to go into to pick up Leviathan's Breath as part of the quest. Also pretty cool that there are these kind of little windows where you can see other folks in the tower, so I guess you could stand here and troll them through the window. Nonetheless, something cool to check out if you want to. It looks like we're also going to get a pretty nice ornament for Xenophage, and some other new and old favourites are going to see some cosmetic love this season as well. But as always, that stuff will be available via the Eververse store. Let's get into some game world news though right here. Some folks have complained about constantly being alone on the moon, as well as difficulty matchmaking into certain content. And Cosmos said he checked and there is a bug logged on this that the team is investigating, so If you've experienced any loneliness on the moon, it's something Bungie are looking into. They're also investigating an issue where divinity is actually causing the game to crash inside of PvP, and I believe this is especially prevalent on console. However, there are reports of folks using it in competitive modes and things like that, which is absolutely no fun, so Bungie are aware and they're looking into fixes, as well as investigating issues where in some instances, divinity is bugging out and causing players to do less damage to targets, so we have a potentially troublesome exotic on our hands right here. This is a kind of random shout, but Bungie did have a panel at PAX Australia, and apparently there was a question about whether Bungie are still working on the results of the Allegiance quest, and if that story is going to affect anything else in the story moving forward. And Victoria Dolbaum from Bungie confirmed that they currently aren't working on anything new with that. So just a little heads up, but of course it could have some level of influence in the future, we'll have to wait and see. Some potentially useful gameplay stuff right here though. Destiny Sets has added a new tab for mods in the game, and so if you're signed in, it can actually track all of the mods that you own, and if there are specific ones you don't have yet, you can check them out and look them up, so could be pretty good as we collect a whole bunch of new and upgraded mods. Also, JP Deathblade, in true fashion, posted something pretty useful about Season of Undying Bright Dust items. And currently it looks like all of the items on screen will be sold for Bright Dust during Season 8. And that does include a few new items, but also a lot of stuff from previous seasons. However, if there are any things that you're specifically trying to get, they may stand out to you right here, and you can keep your eye on the store. Couple of quick shouts right here. Cosmo said they're always working to improve accessibility settings in the game, and they're passing along a request to add variable color reticles for console. So if you're a console player, you'll notice in PC gameplay sometimes you see the reticle with different colors. That's an option you get on PC, but currently not on console, so they're looking into it. Now, any folks with the Shadowkeep Collector's Edition probably know about this already, but there were a series of mysterious web pages associated with the cryptoglyph, and a few hours ago Bungie published all of the transcripts for the lore associated with that. There's some pretty cool stuff in there. However, some folks are speculating about a possible return of Oryx and some of the discussion inside of one of those lore tabs. But I think the general consensus is that this is kind of speaking to Oryx's influence, but also the Hive that are missing leadership on the moon. So there's a section here. To the one who murdered him, who wielded his killers as a knife, she was once a lyre drenched in the sky. And that's actually a reference to Eris Morn, interestingly. And of course we know what happened to Eris in the Hellmouth, and the Hive describe her as having devoted herself to the task of comprehending Oryx, learning and foreseeing him, thinking as he would, and knowing what he would know, becoming his one worthy enemy, and so becoming like him. And it goes on to say, how could she do anything but challenge him, which is essentially a reference to Eris guiding us to Oryx in the Taken King. But now it says the liars come in their thousands and hundreds of thousands, and slaughter us in our millions and tens of millions, and we will go rejoicing to our ends. For they are the blade he has appointed to whittle us into our shape, and she is the avatar he has chosen to mantle him. And even now, we sail the course he plotted. For she has awakened the truth which answers the lies, and his will has delivered the liars to us as his final test. And he is still, and now and forever our king. We will ask him to return to us, and when we have pleased him, he will answer. And so obviously that's pretty interesting. From that Hive perspective, literally everything that has happened in the story has been bound by the will of Oryx, right? And that's kind of the influence he has now. But it also refers to the Guardians being used to whittle the Hive into shape. But as far as them referring to him returning, I'm not entirely sure what that means, but it could potentially be the result of the leaderless Hive, right? As Zavala indicated in that first mission in Shadowkeep. The Hive are generally desperate for leadership, and so maybe that's why they have this perspective or belief. Who knows, it could totally mean more than that. I will link all of those lore pages down below because they're pretty interesting. And if any of you lore experts have any insights into what this means, definitely drop them in the comment section below. But for today, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Of course, as we covered in my last video, Iron Banner is kicking off next Tuesday 15th. We'll get access to the new quest to unlock the armor, and that quest will have a bunch of different steps that, as expected, will take us into the Iron Banner. You need to finish games, capture zones, use different weapon types to get kills and things like that. But I thought it was pretty curious on the subject of that new Iron Banner armor because some folks really seem to like it, and at the same time a lot of other folks are like, nah, I'm not really into that. So I was kind of surprised in the comment section at the contrast of opinions on that one. Let us know your thoughts about it. But one big reason to jump into Iron Banner if you can will be to obtain some of the pinnacle gear that'll come from Saladin's weekly bounties, and Bungie suggested those are going to reset daily, so if that's the case, it's going to be one of the most effective ways to get a lot of power very quickly. On top of this though, next week we will also get the next difficulty of Nightmare Hunts, so I'll be sure to keep you posted on that, and if you're new around here, be sure to get subscribed to the channel if you do want to keep up to date with the world of Destiny. But if you've enjoyed this video, a rating is very much appreciated. I'd love to hear your thoughts about any of the stuff we've covered in this one, but for now, thanks as always for tuning in, guys, and whatever you do, I hope you have an awesome day.